No, I was late to the party to this. Now, when I say late, right? 4 months late. This came out in 2019. I didn't discover this till 2020. But once I did, I read the first couple issues. I went heavy on it. And that ended up paying off for me. I mean, I didn't get them at cover price. This one you couldn't get at cover price. This was the foil. But this one I could have gotten it at cover price, and I didn't. So, but even then, though, for early 2020 price, it's still a lot better than what you're paying nowadays. When I made the video for that, my original video for that, I called that a spec. I mean, technically it's still a spec, right? But later on I moved on and I said this could possibly be the second great book of its decade. The first one, of course, was Ultimate Fallout 4. And I think so far it's proving right. The story is just a great story. And a great character for that story. And that's even better for the book, right? You got a great story and a great character to follow it. All right. Every decade has to have great books. The decade of 2010 to 2000, you could say 2011 to 2020. Started off with Miles, ended with Erica. 2021, start of a new decade. This is very bold what I'm going to say right now, guys. It's only issue number 2. I believe, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is, I believe this is the next great book. I don't think you've heard anybody else say that, so I might look like a fool if this isn't. But one thing I know about comics is if you have a great story and you have great art to accompany it, and you have a great character. What I don't know yet is if this is a great character yet. I don't know that yet. It's a cool character so far, but we don't know much of it. I will tell you that the story, it's got me hooked. And the artwork, it's impeccable. I knew the artwork was going to be like this. Anything that's owned by their creators, right? They're not making this for Image. They're making this for themselves. Image is printing it, but they have the IPs, and that's what's great about this, that the IPs are going to Mr. Gary Frank and Jeff Johns. So I'm feeling really good about this book right now, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go heavy on it. Will this be the next great book? Will this be the first great book of this decade? Remains to be seen. But I'm calling it prematurely. I'm going to call it. What I would say, Geiger #1, the cover A, is a must-have. If you didn't pick it up before, try and pick it up now. It's still going really cheap. You can probably get it for less than $10. Okay, try to pick this baby up. This will be the bargain of the bunch, okay? Just like that one was, right? So I paid a lot more for that than I did for this, okay? And so far I got 6 of these and 3 still pending. All right. Department of Truth, was that a great book? I don't know that yet. I don't know that. It's a good book. It's a good book. I don't know about the artwork either. Definitely a great story. All right. But this right here, man. This right here has you. It hooks you in. You want to know what happens in the next issue. You definitely want to know what's happening in the next issue. And they're introducing characters in this story. That make you want to follow those characters. It makes you feel sympathetic for those characters as well. But look at that. That's his dog. His pet. And like Gary Frank, right? He has to give you some splash page that's just spectacular. Look at that, man. That's freaking cool as hell, bro. Oof. All right. Had to get that out of the way. All right. I'm calling this. All right. Like I said, I might look like a fool later, but if you're gonna take advice from me on a book that you have to have, it's Geiger #1. All right. The book that I think, and I've said this before, the most expensive book, in my opinion, and you know, with as many variants as they come out with, and as many printings, 2nd, 3rd, 4th printings, and 5th printings, who knows how many printings they're going to have of this. But the UK thank you variant is the one that I went after. When I called it, at first I still didn't own any. I do own, I believe, 5 now of the UK variants, but those I'm paying considerably more money than I paid for the cover A. That's why I call the cover A is the book, right? As you know, Something's Killing the Children cover A, it goes for almost as much as any variant that was out there, except for the New York Comic Con variant. It goes even for more than the Jenny Frison foils, you know. So you can gauge how the cover A, you know. Now I don't know what the print run is for Geiger 1. They haven't come out with it yet. I'm going to assume it's going to be less than 100,000, probably in the 70,000 range is what I'm guessing. But we'll see when the numbers come out. It did sell out though, and it sold out before its release, and that's why they came out with a 2nd printing before it even released. Wanted to show you guys some of the books that I've been picking up. This is from Scout Comics. I just liked, I'm a sucker for John Gallagher. Let me take this out so you guys could see it. Alright, so this is called Midnight Western Theater. It's kind of like a horror western by Scout Comics. This is John Gallagher, who is quickly becoming my favorite cover artist for this reason. Look at that. Phenomenal, right? It's gorgeous. I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but this was a Hive exclusive, Hive Comics exclusive. you know what? Support Mr. John Gallagher. And I think at worst I'll get my money back. At worst. But this is what you call a very deep spec. And kind of expensive. It was like a little bit less than $20 an issue. I bought 5 of them. But like I said, I think I can at least make my money back on them. I am going to slab all of them though, because they gotta look a lot better on a slab, right? I picked this up. Department of Truth is going to be it's going to be a property that's going to be highly talked about. It already is, right? But because of Tynan, because of the fact that, you know, it's in talks supposedly for a show or a movie or whatever they're going to do with it, there's going to be more movement in this. And right now, sales are stagnant. I shouldn't even say stagnant, but they've tapered off. So right now we're in a state where that book is flatlined at a particular price right now. But news is coming, and that's going to cause the books to jump even more, right? So from where they're flatlined at, right? And all the first printings are also going to see movement once those news come out, you know, because you don't even know who is going to be playing who or who's going to produce it. But once that comes out, and it will, then you'll see it off of the flight line and take off again to the next level. So it's a good thing, I think, to start picking up more of the cover A's and more of the cover B's that are at 95,000 print run for cover A and cover B, the Frizen and the regular cover A. You know, these are more expensive, but I could definitely see that cover A possibly reaching the heights of what this one will be, probably. You know, this is a pretty nice little cover, but they have so many variants. They have variants of this one as well. Like I think they got a gold one that's less than this, less production than this one is, and they have another foil that's foil of the cover A that's like limited to like 100 or less. But anyway, I would concentrate on the cover A's and the cover B's if you can get them for good prices, and I think you can for under $40 right now if you want to go that route. Better yet, you know, pick this up for less than $10. Hold on to it. All right, hold on to it. All right, so I picked those up. I've been picking these up too. These are tankers. I got 4 of them already. ENIAC, I think I'm still waiting on a second one, but I picked up one. I believe I'm going to end up with 2 ENIACs. But these are pure spec as well. You know, I was watching Economics and Comics, and he says, you know, he hit it pretty much right on the dot, right? Bad Idea is not a comic book company. They're a movie company. They're a movie producing company. They're putting out content for movies, and I think that's really what this is. You know, they're putting out stuff that they want to probably get picked up, you know, for either a series or for some type of Hollywood project. And you know what, the stories definitely seem like that's the way that they're heading. So it's a good thing to spec on these. You could pick these up right now. The first printings for about $10 now. They've dropped in price. That's not a bad spec at $10, guys, because these are not mass produced. Okay, pick these up. These next ones are from YouTube auctions. This is just quick flips, you know. I don't know how long I'm gonna hang on to these. I am gonna slab them though. If this one comes back at a 9.8 and this one looks really nice, I will keep it. I have multiple copies of these, but I'm gonna send all of them out to get graded, and some of them that I picked up right from the rack myself, but I haven't even looked for them. This right here, I have a few copies that I'm gonna send also to get graded. And these will be, you know, unless they come back at a 9.8, I might, you know, keep them, but more than likely I'm gonna turn them, you know, definitely flip them. And this one, I just like the cover for the Ghost Rider Ultimate Avengers #1. This technically has the first appearance of what they call the Black Hulk. I'll show it to you. Hold on a second. Okay, so this is Ultimate Avengers 2 #1 by Mr. Mark Millar. This is the variant cover. Just happened to like the Ghost Rider, you know, cover there. It's actually pretty rare too, this book. But this right there is Mr. Leonard Williams, also known as Tyrone Cash, also known as the Black Hulk. Created by, of course, Mark Millar, and he's a Brit, just like Mark Millar. All right, so you want a British superhero besides Captain Britain? Here you got the Black Hulk. Even though I believe they killed him off, well, definitely they killed him off in this series, but I don't know if he's back. You know, I really don't know if he's back. But in comics, you can bring anybody back. And he's a badass character, man. That is one badass dude. Alright, and definitely, I don't know if I would call this guy a good guy. I don't think so. I don't think I would. If you read some of this story, the guy's brutal. Brutal. Alright, let's look at another one. Alright, so I've been picking these up. I thought that the series, I was going to like the series a lot more than I have so far. I haven't finished watching it, but something about the series that I like it, but it's got to grow on me a little bit more. Jupiter's Legacy. You cannot compare this to The Boys, alright? You can't. You just can't. It's a totally different story. But I can see how people may get, you know, Boys vibes out of it. I could definitely see that. Once I finish watching the entire series, then I'll give you guys my my full opinion of it. But I picked this up strictly because of that series. Not I didn't know much about that team before the series. All right. Picked up a few of those actually. These are the second prints of #1, which I believe are going to be very low production. That's why I picked up the second prints. All right, I went to a mini convention, and what I found out, picked this one up. It's not the same one that I just showed before. That was over here. Now this one I picked up today at a little convention. Picked it up for $15. Guy gave it to me for $15, but it's not a 9.8. It's got some wear right there, you know. I want to definitely have this pressed, and hopefully it'll come back in the 9s. You know, maybe a 9.2 or an. It's got to be pressed really good for this baby to be a 9.4, but I could see Mr. Kendra Mr. Kendra has done some miracles for me before, so I think I can get a 9.4 out of it. I'll be happy with a 9.4 for $15. I'll be happy with that. This is what I found out in the convention, alright guys. Everybody's asking for high prices. They're asking for eBay prices. All these sellers, almost all of them, are asking for graded prices for books that aren't graded, just because they say, oh no, that's near mint, we want this much, you know, for the key books, you know. You have to look in the boxes. All right, now that the conventions are back, and we're talking about these local conventions. I'm not talking about Comic Cons, okay? The big Comic Cons like New York Comic Con or San Diego. I'm talking about your local conventions, you know, where they're like in a ballroom and all you have is, you know, tables around you. And now I realize that they do have to pay for the table and everything like that, but yeah, some of the prices are unrealistic. And one dude kind of got a little ticked off at an offer that I had, and hey, listen, worst you could receive from one of these sellers is a no, you know. But hey, at least I put up an offer, dude. But what I'm finding out is, like, I mean, you have to dig through the long boxes, as the Lords of the Long Box say, you know. Dig through those long boxes and see if you can find some stuff. And that's how I found certain things, right? This is the New York Post exclusive. This comic book came in the New York Post newspaper, and they still had it in great condition, so I didn't even bargain this one down. I gave the guy $5 for it, you know, what the heck. And picked some of these up. These look like in great condition. I didn't pay the prices that you see here, alright? But I would say I paid a little bit more than half of what those prices are. This book I found, I didn't really find any huge books, but I mean, they some of them have potential, like this one, for example. This book has evaded me in a 9.8 as far as me picking it up and grading it. Has evaded me in a 9.8. I think I might have a shot with this one at a 9.8. I ended up buying a 9.8 of this book for $300. Okay, and why? Why? Because this is the first book ever published by Dark Horse Comics. It's Dark Horse Presents #1. Okay, first book ever published by them. The back of this cover has concrete, a full page blow up of concrete. So it's yeah, it's a good book to have, man. It's a good book to have, in my opinion. And hopefully this will be the first 9.8 that I get. I'm gonna have to have that pressed though and cleaned. And of course the Batman wedding, $10. I was able to pick this up. This is another book that has evaded me in a 9.8 from me sending it. I bought 3 9.8s of this so far. I have a 9.6, and I think I have a shot here, hopefully, at a 9.8 after a press and clean. And look at it's. I think I paid at the most $15 for this, at the most. So this is something that's worth definitely picking up. All right. I've talked about this book before. This is the first full appearance of Magic. First full appearance of Magic, and definitely her first appearance as a grown up, as an adult. All right, because you have to go all the way back to Giant Size X-Men #1 for her first appearance as a child. So this is a valuable book in my opinion, and a great spec. Okay, this one, I picked this up, and I picked these up. All right, this is the first. They call it the first full appearance of Bishop. I do like the other one better, the ones that I showed before this, which is 282. All right, but both of them will have value. I don't think these particular two are 9.8 material. Maybe one of them might be after the press. And this one right here, this is a book that Jaguar Chakot was talking about, and I'm taking his opinion. I always take, listen and make my own opinion of a particular book, and this is one that I happen to agree with him on. The guy has had some really great picks though. Dolphin. It's a book that I still haven't picked up. And I should have picked it up, because ever since he started talking about it, that book's been blowing up. In Dolphin from Showcase. Alright, here's another book that I'm specking heavy on. Okay? Because they're still cheap. Picked this one up for $20. It says 35, but I picked it up for 20. What If number 31? Now I do have this already, but I don't know where I have it. But I have it. But I picked up 3 of them. Picked up 2 in this convention, and I picked up another one in a YouTube auction. The other one in the YouTube auction, I picked this up as well. Spec Collector. But yeah, that's what I did in that convention. Hopefully it'll turn out to be okay. All in all, in the convention I spent around $205 or $210 overall. Theoretically, just that Green Lantern book could probably pay for everything and more, once it comes back graded. Alright, let's take a look at some other stuff I've been picking up. We'll leave this for last, okay, because I've been picking this up. Alright, taking this from the community, from you guys, you're the heroes. Picking this up from you guys. This is Kanan #1, right? But this one is the incentive, the 1 in 25 incentive. They don't want to go after the 9.8 because it's already like blown up big time. But the 9.6s are coming down in price, so picked up a 9.6 and a 9.4. I figured that maybe I can get lucky, because I picked these up on eBay. I can get lucky and maybe submit one of these for a 9.8, but I don't believe either one could be submittable for a 9.8, so I'm going to keep them in its current forms and just see what happens, and then just flip them both, because I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I'm not invested in that. But I am invested in this, and this is what I'm going to leave you guys with. Talked about this book many a times, guys, many a times. I overpaid for this one though. Alright, there are deals out there. Yes, this comic book market has blown up, and everybody has their own opinions of why it's blowing up, and if it's gonna come down, and is there gonna be a crash, and this and that. I've talked about the stock market and the comic book market many times also. Okay, look, the comic book market is its own separate entity, is a totally different animal than the stock market. Even though we have day traders here, guys. We have day traders trading comics like if they're freaking penny stocks. That's a fact. All you have to look at, you pick a book, right? If you have if you have a Go Collect, let's say, account, right? Pick any book you want, any big key from Silver Age or even Bronze Age keys, or even this book, let's say, right? Well, maybe not this book, but any book that's hot, right? Because I can't say this book is hot. It isn't. It hasn't been hot. But what you're gonna find is, if you look, let's say, at a 9.8. Look at the serial number on a particular book that was sold at a particular time frame, but not the most recent one. All right, and then scroll up and write the next number down, and then the next number down. Somewhere along the line, you're going to come across the same number 2 or 3 times. All right, sometimes even by the same sellers, meaning that that book probably didn't sell. That happened to me in a couple of books already. I do research before I bid, and I was interested in Invincible #1. I was willing to pay $3,000 for it, actually, but before I did that, I wanted to see who was buying him, and I saw the same serial number on Invincible twice from the same seller, and I was thinking, how can the same book sell from the same seller, same books, same serial number? It's because it didn't sell. So one of them was like, I forget the number right now, and I just don't have the time to go online, but it was like 2,400, and then the next one was like 2,800 or something like that, for the same book. So, but it gets counted like if it did sell. So if another seller is just looking at sold products, they're going to look at that and interpret that as saying, hey, that book sold for 2,800. Now I'll pay 3,000 for it. So I didn't go after the sale, after the book. After that, I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna get had, not like that. So look, at some point, guys, the most important thing, in my opinion, when you're going after a book, especially if you're not heavily invested in that character, like Invincible, I'm not heavily invested in it. I just happen to like the series, and I think that a lot of people did like the series, and I wanted to just hold it for a little while and see what happened, But if you miss out, listen, there's nothing wrong with missing out. So there's nothing wrong with it. If you missed out on it, you just missed out on it. Don't chase it. Don't chase. Unless you already have a plan for the chase. If you have a plan for the chase, that's different. But don't chase a book just because. These sellers, once a sale goes through, they'll put the next book up for a bigger price than the last sale. So if a book goes for $1,500, the next price, it's like $2,000. It's like, doesn't mean that you have to pay that price. Don't be a fool. Just wait for the next one, or underbid them. Bid $1,300 or whatever. But yeah, just because somebody's asking a certain amount doesn't mean you have to pay it. Obviously every book is different, and you might be invested in a particular book. I'm invested in this book because I believe in this book. I've talked about this book many a times. All right, let's talk about this book. Alright, this is DC Comics Presents number 26. I overpaid for this book. I overpaid. Alright. It was for a reason though. Bought this from eBay, okay? This is going into the project. It's going to be going into the Keeper project, the growth tier. This did not make the Comic Tom, even though I paid more than the one that did make the Comic Tom list. Comic Tom list was for $565, which ends up being more than that, guys, because of the taxes. So it's over $600. This one though, I paid $650 for. It's more, almost $100 more than the Comic Tom record breaker that they said. So this is a record breaker for a 9.6, and yeah, I'm the guy that paid it. Okay, don't know if this is was this a good buy for me? You know what, I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, it was not a good buy, because I think I could have bid this guy a lot lower. He wanted like $900 for the book. I bid $650 for it, and he accepted it, and I think I would have accepted it as well. Okay, so why pay $650 for this? Well, first of all, I wholeheartedly believe that this is DC's version of Giant Size X-Men #1. You just don't know it yet, but this is. Alright. Second, it's a 9.6 older label. Third, it's got wide pages. And then my thoughts were that maybe I can send this out and maybe get a 9.8 out of it. This is the only flaw that I see in the book, and if that can be removed, if that's not part of the ink, then I think I have a really good shot at a 9.8. You know, the back is immaculate. See that? Back is immaculate. Doesn't have any stress marks really. So if I can get a 9.8, then this would be my third 9.8 of this book. So that's why I paid what I paid for it. Could I have paid less? Yes, absolutely. I could have paid less, but like I said, the guy wanted $900 for it. Yeah, I ended up accepting the $650, but because of the taxes, it comes out to $704.36. It's going to be around $750 by the time I'm done with it, with the new grading, and this will be sent to CCS. Unfortunately, I can't send this to Mr. Kendra because it's already a 9.6. Worst thing is this comes back at a 9.4. God forbid. I mean, I'd rather send it to CCS. And look, nowadays they make you sign a disclosure saying if you're sending them a slab, it could come back a lower grade. I think that's just absolutely just to protect themselves and stuff, but I've never received a slab sent to CCS in a lower grade that's not signed, okay, in a lower grade. That's not going out to get signed. Never received a lower grade from a slab. So I'll be taking a chance with it. A lot of times I do that. So in my opinion, the worst thing that this comes back to me is a 9.6 white pages. It's the worst thing that this comes back to me as. Okay, and because I believe so much in this book. Look, DC Comics, most guys out there on YouTube are telling you what? Stay away from DC. Don't buy DC. Stay away from it like kryptonite. I'm going to tell you exactly the opposite. When people fear, that's when you pounce. That's when you pounce. These are still great characters. These are all-time great characters. Okay, now, the new Teen Titans is the first modern teen group, and technically it's really the first teen group. I mean, besides the Teen Titans of the Brave and the Bold and stuff, but in modern comics for DC, this is the group. This is the group. And all the first appearances here, all of them are great characters. Raven, Cyborg, Starfire. You know, the writer, great writer, right? On top of that, it's got a story by James Starlin and Wolfman, right? But yeah, man, pick this up if you're looking for something just to hold. There are deals out there. You know, if this was a Marvel property, a 9.6 in this would be $3,000, easy. Probably more than that, a hell of a lot more than that for this time frame. But it's a DC property, and everybody's staying away from it because they really haven't done anything. You know, they don't have a good production company. They just don't. You know, now they do. That they're with HBO Max, and we're about to find out how good HBO Max is going to be for them. You know, the good thing is that now HBO Max is under the Discovery brand, right? So so is DC Comics. Now, would I have rather Netflix or Prime get the properties? Yeah, I would have rather have that. You know, if Netflix would have gotten the properties for DC Comics, man, every single one of their books would have jumped. Every single one of their keys would have jumped. You know, Discovery is going to have to prove that they can produce. You know, that they can produce. Now, before them doing that, though, they already killed the New Gods movie. It's done, right? It's supposedly they had some really great scenes planned for it, according to the producers of the show and everything of the movie. There was a scene with Mr. Miracle and Big Barda that was gonna be an iconic scene, is from what I'm hearing, but it's not gonna happen anymore. At least not yet. You know, maybe Discovery might take a look at something like that and bring it back. I don't know, but we'll see what they can do. But these properties have nowhere to go but where? Up. They can't possibly do worse than what AT&T or DC prior was doing with them. They can't. It's impossible. You can't be that incompetent, you know. So, in my opinion, these are the books to go after. The key books from DC. Go after them now. They're at garage sale prices. You know, why not? When you have giant size X-Men going for astronomical amounts, and you got this book going for like next to nothing. I mean, really, a 9.8 you can pick up for $1,500 for this book. It's criminal. It's criminal, you know. Yeah, you can pick up a 9.6 for probably $500, which I could have done with this. You know, if I would have offered him $550, I think he would have took it. But I was, you know, I was just looking at the potential for this book, and you know, yeah, it's FOMO does get me every now and then, you know, fear of missing out of this book. But like I said, this is the kind of book that I don't worry about. You know, I can hold this book for 10 years, in another 10 years, even if DC is still incompetent, it'll probably be $1,000 book. You know, I made even last year. How many books did I buy last year? The Tomb of Dracula that came back at an 8.5. Yeah, I was disappointed that it came back an 8.5. I was expecting a 9.2. And I had paid with the grading and everything, right around $1,500 to $1,600 for it. Well, guess what? Now that's a bargain for an 8.5. You know, the Fantastic Four 48 that came back restored at a 4.5, and I had to spend more money and came back at a 4.0. I was bummed out about that, right? I spent a little bit over $1,000 for that 4.0, you know, restored once it came back unrestored, right? Now it's a bargain. It's a bargain. So I'm pretty confident that the same thing's going to happen with this. So I'm not worried about it. And that's why that goes into the Keeper Project, my boys. The Keeper Project. I'll tell you what, though. All right? I'll leave you guys with this. Don't sleep. Don't sleep. No sleep till Brooklyn. That's the book I want you guys to go after. I'm going after 10 more of these. I'm going to pay slightly more than what I did for these. I paid less than cover price for these. I'm going to pay more for these as soon as I get off of this video. Going after 10. 10. Alright. Later, my boys and gals. Do I have any girls listening here? I don't think I do. Do I have any women listeners? I don't believe anybody ever posted there. But whatever, dudes. Whatever, dudes. Everybody's welcome. Later.